BIRDEE, welcome to our show. So this is going to be aired on Everywhere and Nowhere. We're so excited to have you. I've already explained how I'm such a big fan of yours already, but do you want to do a quick introduction to our listeners of who you are and like what your music's like?
Yeah. So my name is BIRDEE. I am based in Sydney, Australia. I'm an indie, alternative and electronic pop artist, and I'm here to be performing in Singapore on my Asia tour.
Nice. We're so excited to be able to see you live as well. But I wanted to touch on the first thing, which was your name is BIRDEE Wang Wei, right? Which to me, the moment I saw that, I think I already shared with you just now, like I saw it on this lineup and it was the Australian lineup, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw the Chinese characters, I was like taken aback. I was like, who is this? I need to find out who this artist is, right? And so I just wanted to know, like, how did you come up with was it very intentional to include your like English and Chinese name when you started like making music?
Yeah, so I wanted to incorporate my Chinese name with my English name, as growing up being a mixed cultured kid. I never really embraced my culture, especially growing up in a country town where it was very rare to see other mixed kids.
Yeah.
And so I did struggle a lot with, my identity and embracing my culture and who I was. And so as I got older, I realized I love who I am. Like, I love my culture. I love, that I
Beautiful.
I love all that. So I wanted to, I wanted to show that I'm really proud to be part Chinese and to have that a part of my identity and as an artist and as a person. So
for sure. I think that's beautiful, and like it's never too late, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To be proud of like who you are, and like you grew up in like a small town, like so
did,
not
yeah.
in Sydney.
No, so
okay.
I grew up in a town called Parkes.
Okay.
At the time it had around maybe 15,000 people.
Wow.
So yes, very small.
Yeah.
And it did have its advantages as well as disadvantages, like every other place that you would live in. But yeah, I guess one of the things I did struggle with was, how I would fit in and feeling as though I'm an outcast and not being able to resonate and connect with other people because there wasn't as many mixed people. So, moving to Sydney in the city to start my music career, it really allowed me to, reflect on who I am and take the time to reconnect, with my culture.
For sure. I mean, I totally understand that because like I come from Perth and it's such a, not as small as 10,000, 15,000 people, but like when I first moved there, I had the same kind of feeling, like there weren't that many people that looked like me around, and you were so young and like not sure how to articulate like that discomfort you're feeling. So I totally get like that third culture, like kid mentality. How has that like influenced like your music in particular?
I think it's definitely influenced my music in a lot of ways that I can articulate but also can't. So in a sense that I grew up being very exposed to a lot of different, things. So for example, like my parents, my mum being Malaysian Chinese, my dad being Greek and Russian, having so much culture really opened my eyes that there are different lifestyles, there's different ways of doing things and being and perceiving things in life. So in that sense, I wanted to naturally put that into my music and be open to different ideas and experimenting on creating different kinds of music and things like that, and not limiting myself in a box. So I think that's definitely, been a huge impact through my creativity, through my, mentality as well. And I think in unintentional subconscious ways, it's probably, helped me in, I don't know, but it's it would have definitely helped
for sure.
me in a lot of ways,
I think I can definitely see how it's like being expressed in your music, not only through like the themes that you talk about and the way you talk about it, but even like being here right now. I know you just came back from touring like Jakarta, Manila, and for me, like as someone who understands like both how Asia's like music industry works and a little bit about Australia, it's very rare to have an Asian Australian artist to really focus on this market, because as you know, Australia is such a like insular market, right? You know, everyone's all about, oh, like let's go east, and then if after you go east and then you go like to US, I don't know, you know.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what was it that like was it? How has it been for you, like touring in Manila, Jakarta, and like was that a very intentional decision for you as well to like I want to like explore Asia as part of like my focus as an artist?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely was intentional. I think the fact that I released a couple of songs, including Keeping Love, it really got a lot of love and appreciation from all around Asia. So Vietnam, Thailand, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, Philippines. It was just so overwhelming, and it was so like, it's just a special moment because I felt like, oh wow, like being, you know, part Asian and then seeing that love being reciprocated. It was just like, oh my gosh. So I felt like I just needed to go and to show like I really do appreciate the love and the support that I'm getting, and I am willing to go out and to, you know, to perform for you guys live and to meet you guys and connect with you guys face to face, you know.
For sure.
So it definitely was intentional, and being in the Philippines and Jakarta, and especially for the first time as well, was just such a great experience. Like, like every time I think about it, I've just got a big grin on my face because it was just so wonderful. The people there are just so beautiful and welcoming. And one thing I've definitely realized is that they just genuinely, purely support music. Like you can just feel it, you see it. They will do anything to show their support and love, and it just means a lot.
I think especially like for you as an artist coming from overseas, and also like being like an emerging artist, like the kinds of people that work with you and want to like meet you and stuff, they must really like love your music. If not, I think like they wouldn't like come into your space otherwise.
Hope they do.
Do you have any like core memories that you've made like on your tours, especially in Jakarta and Manila, that you would like to share with us?
I think a core memory was when I performed at the Wish 107.5 bus.
You performed on the bus.
Yeah, I performed on the bus.
Cool.
I know, it was so interesting.
Was it a working bus?
It was, it was.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like an actual bus like that can like drive around and move and that. And I was just like, one, I've never performed like, you know, at radio stations and that in the Philippines. Two, I've never performed on a bus. And then three, seeing the amount of people that were like outside of the windows that were watching and enjoying it, and then going out to then meet them and greet them, and it was just like a movie. It was really surreal. Like it was like a movie. Just everyone was there, just being like, "Oh, I want a photo," and like they're just showing so much love and support, and like I was like, "Wow!" Like. Yeah,
amazing.
Definitely ingrained in my brain.
Awesome. When you were like, I mean, even not when you were like touring Asia, but in general, like in your discovery of your identity and all that, have you found any like Asian artists that like you really resonate with and like maybe even like want to work with in the future?
I definitely want to work with Denise Julia, and I'm pretty sure she's based in the Philippines. She seems really, really cool. No, there are definitely artists out there that I would love to work and collaborate with for sure.
Nice. We look forward to that. More like collaborations from you. Because I think most of your music so far has been like solo, right?
Yeah, most of them have been, mostly solo. In terms of like having artists singing with me, definitely solo, but in terms of production wise, I do tend to collaborate a lot with a wide variety of people. So
I think that's like very like clear in your music, because like listening through your catalog, like you've been releasing stuff since 2020, and I feel like your style and your musical style has like evolved a lot over time. Like what was that journey like for you up until like you released like your debut EP this year, On My Own?
I think it's been a very eye-opening and insightful journey going through with it. At the start of when I started making music, I didn't really have any direction or idea of specifically, you know, what I wanted to put out, what I wanted to do. It was very organic and natural. And then I guess throughout the years of progressing and going overseas to songwrite and collaborate with people, I love to go in with just an open mind of being, okay, I want to see what they would bring to the table and what I can bring and how we can blend that and infuse to create something that people have never really heard of, but still remain as, oh, that's a BIRDEE track. So it definitely has been challenging at times in the sense that I want it to still remain authentic and true to me, but still also finding my sound. But I think overall, I know that whatever I make, whatever kind of style or genre it is, it will always remain authentic and true to me in the way that I compose and write and I guess how it sounds textually. So,
I think it becomes a little bit difficult when you get all like in your head about it as well, and sometimes it just comes down to like, is this something that I resonate with right now? Because like that's the best way to represent yourself as an artist is like to be yourself at any stage of like your journey, right?
Definitely.
So you just released your EP this year, On My Own. Can you share a little bit about like this milestone, like this milestone EP? There's so many bangers on it. Me and Alyssa like love it. We're just like, every single track is like amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I think the EP in itself is just a package that reflects on the solo traveling I did last year around Europe and America. So I wrote mostly about, I guess, realizations, experiences, emotions, things that I went through during that time. So one of the songs being Dreams is about how I felt like at that time my life was literally a dream. Like it felt like I wasn't living because I was doing everything that I've always dreamed of doing, which is to travel, to meet new people, to make music and just live my life. So that's being one, and I guess other songs are being about, as I said, just realizations and things that I saw and felt, people I met, and it's just practically me being on my own. And living my life.
Cool. You wrote all the songs like by yourself?
I co-wrote with a lot of the songs. So I've worked with many various producers and songwriters. So with my latest song, Best Mistake I Never Made, I wrote that one with a couple of producers, Ocan, Vodka. I know, his producer's name's Vodka, it's pretty cool. Robin Howell and Nifty, and they're based in Newcastle in England.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
so it's all like spread out. International collabs.
Yeah, it's
nice.
Very cool, very interesting.
Awesome. Do you want to share a little bit about like your new single, Best Mistake I Never Made? Like what's the story behind that one?
Yeah, sure. So Best Mistake I Never Made is about a past relationship. Or maybe a situationship, should we say?
Yeah.
We've all been there.
And
he wanted like another chance, and I knew, as much as my emotional side wanted to say yes, logically I knew that it was better for me to, have that healthy boundary and say no and put myself first for once. And by doing that, looking back now, I feel like there's been a lot of doors and opportunities and things that have been opened because I've now invested a lot of my focus and time into myself. And so looking back, I'm like, wow, it's the best mistake that I never made. I never made that mistake.
Don't regret it.
Yeah, I don't regret it,
Which means it was the right thing to do.
Exactly, yeah.
Amazing.
And I think it also reflects on how, just in general as people, we always focus on the mistakes we do make in life, and we always just feel so down, and we beat ourselves up over it. But I think we need to take a moment every now and then to realize the mistakes we didn't make and be proud of where we are now in life because of that.
For sure. Oh my God, you're so optimistic.
I really try.
I just feel that like from all your music, like yes, your style has like evolved a lot, like musically, and I know like right now it's in this like lucid, hazy space, which I really really love. But I feel like in your lyrics, like you're always very very like inward facing, you know, like I mean everyone has a different things that inspire them. Other people are like, you know, other people's stories, but I feel like for you it's a lot about like your personal like growth, like you feel like when you're like looking into yourself, you're like, wow, this was something, like it's a new milestone for me. And I love that so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that me, just as a person, like I'm very like that. As much as I'm very extroverted and confident, I also am introverted at the same time, where I do think a lot and daydream, and I do think of things, and I think just as humans we should always like think of how we are as humans and how we behave and how we think, our patterns, our habits, and that really does, you know, impact on how we are. So I think it's really important. I think that's why I write mostly about things like that.
Amazing. So we have one last question for you. What kinds of music like did you listen to growing up, and like what are some of your musical influences like now?
Growing up, I went through a lot of phases. I went through the whole pop punk phase. I went through a little bit of like a scream phase.
Okay.
Interesting. Growing up, when I played piano, I played classical, so I went through classical era. A little bit of jazz, like Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald. I went through an alternative, like kind of angsty teen phase, so a lot of Lana Del Rey, the XX, The Neighborhood, then kind of like a bit of rap, so like J. Cole, Kendrick, Kanye. So it's like
I'm
just
loving
a blend.
this.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
really loving
a
this.
lot
like
of different stuff.
Awesome.
But I would say, like, what influences me at the moment, off the top of my head, of, you know, the biggest artists that really touch me and I've listened to for a long time is probably Georgia Smith, Lana Del Rey, Billy Martin, who else?
I love that they're all like female artists.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Girl
They
power.
just have a little bit of something in there.
It's just something. It's just something like different, you know.
Yeah.
It's different. It resonates on a deeper level.
Yeah, 100%. But I would definitely say Still Woozy as well. So he's an Australian artist, and he's very like organic and very indie. So I definitely would say that he's influenced a lot of my stuff, especially my earlier music.
Nice. I love that it's so diverse, and I think it also speaks a lot about like your background and like how you've come from such diverse like cultures, and how you're able to like switch perspectives. And I look forward to seeing like even more of that in your music coming up. What would you say like is next for you?
So after this Asia tour, I will be doing a national tour as a supporting act for a band called Safia.
Oh yes.
So I'll be going around Australia touring, and then I'll also be performing at a festival in Australia called Lost Paradise for New Year's Eve. So that'll be very exciting, and I think just a lot more releases, a lot more singles, and then potentially, you know, maybe my next EP. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us here, Birdee. Like we're so excited about like what's to come for you, and enjoy the rest of your trip in Singapore.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.